Hello everyone. Today let's solve the problem number 217 contains duplicates. So what the question states here, we are given an array nums of integers. You can clearly see here in the example 1, we have been given an array nums of integers. So we have to return true if element appears more than once. So again I'm telling, we have to return true if the element appears more than once. In this case, see here, we have the element 1 once and we have the element 1 twice. So if the element in the array appears more than once, then we have to return true, right? So that is the reason they have kept the question name contains duplicate, right? So here in this case we have 1 2 3 1, so 1 is repeated twice. In this case we are returning true, so that's what they have given the output here. They have given the output in this case, they have given true. So let's come to the second example here. Nums, we have 1 2 3 and 4. All the numbers are distinct here, we don't have duplicate at all. You can clearly see here 1 is different, 2 is different, 3 is different, and 4 is different. All the numbers are distinct here in this case. So the output that we have to display here is false. So that is why we have got false here in this case, right? So this is for the example 2. Let's come to the third example here. We have nums equals triple one double three uh, 4 3 2 4 2, right? So here in this case 1 is repeated more than once, 3 is repeated once here in this case, twice. I think here you can clearly see 4 is repeated, 4 is also repeated here, 2 is also repeated. All the numbers are repeated here in this case, right? So in that case we have to return the output true. If one number is repeated within the array, then we have to return true. That's what they have given in the question, right? So that is the reason we have got true here. We need to display true in this case. So I hope the question is completely clear, easy to understand, right? So let's do one thing. First let's discuss the approach, right? Then let's discuss the approach. While discussing the approach, let's discuss the complexities as well. Then let's write the code. Let's first let's discuss the approach. So let's do one thing here. This is the first example basically, right? So the first example that I've considered so that it will be easier to understand. We have already discussed this one, right? So input nums we have 1 2 3 1. So 1 and 1 are repeated here. So we have to return true, right? So in this case we have to return true. So we will be going with the hash set approach. So just keep this in mind, we will be going with the hash set approach, means hashing using hash set, right? So just keep this in mind, we'll be going with the hash set approach. So let's go with the further steps. Let's discuss this one by step, right? So as I've said, we will be making use of the hash set. Why we'll be making use of the hash set here? Because we need to store the unique elements, right? So whenever we need to store the unique elements, then we will be going with the hash set, right? We know this. If you don't know what hash set hash map means, please go through the this one, Java beginners course that I have, that's in the playlist. This one, Java beginners course, Java playlist, I think. So I can just go through that one. I have clearly explained about the hash set, hash map, array list, other things. So right, so here we'll be making use of the hash set. Why? Because to store the unique elements, right? As we are iterating through the array, we will be iterating through the array once. Just keep this in mind. So we'll be iterating through the array once. So that is the reason we'll be making use of the hash set, just to store the unique elements. Just keep this in mind. So let's start from the left. So we have considered the same first example, right? Let's start from the left. So 1 2 3 1 we have in the array, right? So first we will insert 1 in the hash set. So now hash set contains 1, right? Next we will insert 2. Now the hash set contains 1 2, the second step. Third, in the third step we will be inserting 3. So here this is not insert, this is insert basically, sorry. Yeah, this, in the third step we will be inserting 3, the element 3. Now this becomes 1 2 3, right? So we will check for 1 again. So we will check for again, we'll try inserting 1 again, but 1 already exists here in this case, hash set, the first element in the hash set, right? So 1 already exists in the hash set. So in that case we will return true. If any element that gets repeated in the hash set, in that particular this thing step itself, we will return true, right? So here in this case we will check for 1 again. 1 already exists, so we will return true in that case, right? Simple. So you will understand this crystal clear when we write the code. right? I hope the approach part is completely clear, right? Easy to understand. So let's come to the complexities part here. The time complexity would be big of n. So here the time complexity would be quite obviously big of n. Why? Because we are scanning all the elements once, and each lookup means we will make use of this one add property, right? In the hash set, each lookup or add in the hash set is big O of 1. So average is big of 1. So each lookup or add in the hash set is big of 1 on average. So overall time complexity would be, this is for each element we are speaking of. So overall time complexity would be big of n, quite obviously, right? So what would be the space complexity? I hope the time complexity part is completely clear, easy to understand, right? So again I'll tell, we are scanning all the elements exactly once, and each lookup or add in the hash set is big of 1 on average. So let's go with the space complexity part here. The space complexity overall, this one space complexity would be big of n as well, because we are making use of the hash set. In the worst case, all the we have to store all the n elements in the hash set in the worst case, right? So the space complexity would be quite obviously big of n. So I hope the complexities part is completely clear, right? So the time complexity and the space complexity for the code that we will be writing will be big O of n and big of n. Big of n for both the time complexity and the space complexity. So I hope the complexities part and the approach part is completely clear. Let's start writing the code. So let's do one thing. First, as I have said earlier, we'll be making use of the hash set, right? So let's create the hash set to store the scene elements, nothing but big of 1, average, insertion, and lookup. We have already discussed this one during the complexities part. So now first let's this one create the hash set. So I'll just go with hash set. Within the angle brackets I'll just give integer, so this is fine. uh, Let me make use of the variable name set. So we are creating the hash set, right? So I'll just go with hash set. This is fine. I hope this is clear. So easy. Next part is, as I have said, we will let's iterate through each element in the array. So I'll be making use of the for loop here. Int n of nums. This is fine. I hope this is clear, right? We are just iterating through the each element in the array. So what we have to do within the for loop, if the element already exists in the set, then it's a duplicate, quite obviously, right? If elements already exist in the set, then quite obviously it is considered as a duplicate. Then in that case, we have to return true. That's what. Let's write the same thing, or let's articulate the same thing in the form of code here. So I'll just give here set dot contains of n here in this case. So if element already exists in the set, then we have to return true, right? It will be considered as duplicate, then we have to return true. Here in this case I'll give return true, right? So otherwise, if the element does not exist at all, if all the elements are distinct, then we have to return false. Before that, one more thing. So if it is considered as a duplicate, then we have to return true. So otherwise we have to add that one to the set as well. The next element also we have to add that one to the set, right? If suppose 1 2 3 4 we are having, so after 1 we have to check for the 2, right? If 1 and 2 are distinct, so first what we have to do, we have to add the element 1 to the hash set, right? So in this case, let's add the element to the set. I'll just give here set dot add of n, right? So this is fine. So the last part here is, if no duplicates found in the hash set at all, if no duplicates found in the hash set at all after the full iteration, then we have to return false. So let's come to the second example here. You can clearly see. So in this case, we have 1 2 3 4, all the numbers are distinct. Even if we make use of the hash set, all the numbers in the hash set will be distinct, right? So in this case we have to return false. So this is one of the edge cases. We shouldn't forget this one. So in this case, what we will do, we have to return false. So simple. So let me format the code once and let me hit the run button. So I hope this works. Let's see. Compile error we have. Return false. Oh, just give me a second here. Let me format the code once. Why this is considering like this? So yeah, so just give me a second here. This has to be here, right? I get confused with the JavaScript actually. So yeah, let me hit the run button. Yeah, now you can clearly see here the sample test cases are getting passed. Means the code works absolutely correct on this case, right? So we have discussed the approach part, and we have already discussed the this one complexities part as well, right? So now I hope whatever the code that we have written is completely clear as well. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys. So before this, I didn't submit the code at all, I think, right? So let's check whether it works for all the test cases or not. So yeah, you can clearly see here all the test cases are getting passed, right? So the code works absolutely correct on this case. Oh, yeah, so this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.